But we got to move on to our next segment because we got some really good stuff on the show.
I'm all about women empowerment. I mean, it's one of the things that I talked about with when bringing this topic into this group. I really respect women and their roles, and I think a woman's place can be in the NFL. And
Let's go. We can't not have the women in the NFL. So who do we got today?
Well, today, Janae and everyone here, yesterday we celebrated the 37th National Girls and Women's in Sports Day. So that's right. It's a huge day, I guess. I don't guess. I know for a fact for girls and women all around the world. It celebrates athletes and encourages participation about women and how they have to face barriers in the athletic world, including like college sports. So they are a key role in encouraging female athletes everywhere. And February marks the 37th year of it because it started in 1987. So,
whoa!
If we go back that year, it was the first, and it brought upon all of these factors that I'm gonna save some bits and pieces here to the end.
Okay.
Yes. So since 1987. Wow. There's been always an annual event organized by Women's Sports Foundation. So it's a day that celebrates girls and women's involvement in sports. It also encourages them to participate in sports and stay active. So we have to remember this is a ladies' talk show. So hosted by the women for us women to educate and learn some things that I want to share with you about this day. So it wasn't always like women refereeing now in Super Bowl games or in national championships. We have to remember that the history of women and girls in sport was meant to be more recreational. They said we wouldn't have a body that would be able to keep up physically with the demand.
Come on.
They also would play half basketball court because it wasn't fitting, or that they wouldn't think that we could run a full court just like the men would. So we've fought a lot to be and have our rights in looking at us in sports in a competitive manner, and look at the WNBA now.
Come on.
And as well, it all did start with a woman that we're going to be recognizing. And it started the first day was in 1987. As President Ronald Reagan said in his proclamation declaring it, the history of women in sports is rich and long and has provided millions of opportunity for growth and development and the pursuit of challenging goals. So the first commemoration recognized the Olympic volleyball player Flo Hyman. So this is where I digress beautifully into the Olympic volleyball player that is known as Flo Hyman. She died in 1986, so it was the year prior to this day happening that ended up shedding some light on women in sports competitively. Wow. So, yes, she was an amazing, I don't know if you guys heard of her, but she was a U.S. Olympian volleyball player. She was a star, legendary. So she was a 19, and also too, it's February for Black History Month. So this also too does fit in there as well. She's an amazing woman. She's a 1972 graduate of Inglewood's Morningside High School and was a major force in turning the U.S. women's team from recreational into internationally competitive program.
Let's go.
So when Hyman joined the team in 1974, Americans, after miserable performances in 1964, 1968 Olympics, failed to even qualify for the 1970 games. By 1978, the U.S. women were fifth in the World Championships. And by 1980, they were considered a favorite to win an Olympic medal. So she ended up doing amazing work for the Olympic team.
Yes.
And the Sports Illustrated in 1979, in terms of overall strength, they were probably the best among the best women athletes he had ever tested. So, what does that have to say about women in sports? She is an overpowering spiker, Hyman, awed and respected by everyone in the world at the time at the Quadrennial World Cup in 1981. She was honored as a competition's best hitter. So as that team became successful and one of the dominant teams in the world, she was the best player on that team, and she was the most recognized. And unfortunately, there was a sad turn of events where she, at the age of 31, ended up passing away on the court to a sold-out audience.
Wow.
And this was due to a very silent killer, which is called known as Marfan syndrome, and it was in Japan when she was playing for the U.S. So,
wow.
That is the reason why it was such an undercover illness that wasn't really taken in with women in recreational. They're not playing competitively. They're not health checking all of these things. So this is why this whole entire day was made, was because of her excellence in performance in sports and how she's legendary. So yeah, that's it. I want to take it away with possibly, if we have maybe a little video lined up to better explain than what I can.
Let's go.
Flo Hyman, amazing volleyball player extraordinaire.
Extraordinaire.
Yes.
Flo Hyman was born Flora Jane Hyman in 1954 in Inglewood, California. The talent she showed in high school earned her a spot on the U.S. women's national team while in college. She was the first female scholarship athlete at the University of Houston, where she played for 3 seasons. She helped lead the national team to a silver medal in the 1984 Olympics in Los Angeles. In 1986, while playing professionally in Japan, Flo Hyman passed away at the age of 31 in front of a sold-out crowd. Her autopsy revealed Marfan syndrome was the cause of her death. This brought the disorder to light and saved many other lives. I was 12 when I saw Flo Hyman and Team USA win the silver medal at the 1984 Olympics. Later, I learned how much we had in common. We were both self-conscious about our height, and our parents encouraged us to be proud of it instead. Flo was a fierce competitor. I believe I continue to show her fighting spirit. I strive to live by her words. To be true to oneself is the ultimate test in life. To have courage and the sensitivity to follow your hidden dreams and stand tall against the odds that are bound to follow your path. Flo Hyman left a legacy of excellence in female empowerment, and following in her footsteps, I have a mission to teach others how to confidently chase after their dreams. In 1987, National Girls and Women in Sports Day began as a way to promote girls and women in sports, as well as a day of remembrance for Flo Hyman and her promotion of equality for women in sports. We are proud to honor Flo Hyman as one of the greatest to ever play the game.
Wow. Wow. That was phenomenal. Man, shout out to the women who paved the way. You know, it was tragic of her passing away, but the fact that we're going to remember her legacy. And that's what it's about, man. Just the legacy. Shout out. We will always remember Miss Flo And I think that is awesome. Good, phenomenal job, Nicole.
Thank you, Nicole. Yeah.
Oh, thank you guys. I'm on this journey, all of us together. So
no, I love that. Yeah. We know it wasn't football, but that's how it started. And now you do have women in football. So this is how it started. So thank you.
It's how you got to do it. And just to be clear, women always dominate the Olympics. You know, we always dominate. I think that's amazing.